Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting we are doing today is called River Sunset, and it is 14 by 20 inches large. And you can see right now we are not starting on top of a regular burnt sienna ground. We are painting on top of another painting, and this other painting had a really cool sky in it, no question about that, but I was trying to do this kind of minimalist, textured, hilly landscape thing. Was definitely inspired by an early tonalist whose name escapes me, but his ones that he would do like this were like gigantic wall-sized paintings, and mine's not. I don't know if that's why mine didn't work. Mine didn't work for so many reasons I could enumerate, mostly because it just was boring, and I was going for this certain light effect, which I got, but it was still boring, and it didn't work. And so 14 by 20 inches is pretty big for me, and I don't like these things laying around the studio. Actually, I hadn't even done this one that long ago. It just was unhappy with it, and I know when it's time to paint over painting, when every time I look at it I want to turn it away or get rid of it, and so what I did was, we did the study last week. I knew I had about I think 2 weeks before I went on holiday. I decided, well, I'm going to grab some of these stinkers, and I'm going to do some things over the top that were basically successful at smaller sizes. And this one is actually a little different in that I'd never really, that's why I did a 5x7 study for this. I had painted the scene many times, but what I hadn't done was painted it with the particular sky that I have in it now, and with a lot more color. I'd always done it very muted in the past. But I'm fairly happy with this painting. It's up in my studio right now. I have some things about it that I'm not in love with, but in general I've had a good response to it, mostly because of the colors in the sky, and so I figured I'd share it with you guys today. There it is. So how's it going in the studio? I'm working on a bunch of 5x7 studies right now, basically, and I've done like 12, which 5 of those I'm going to be turning into larger paintings. And I just did my board prep, and those boards are all prepped and sitting there waiting for me when I get back to the studio tomorrow, which will be my Monday. And actually, so after I decided which of the 12, I sort of screwed up because I wanted to do a vertical like 11 by 14, but I had not prepped a board, and I really don't want to load in 6. I like the way 5 kind of moves pretty quick, and it keeps a good turnaround in the studio of the larger pieces. I have gone as high as like 12 or 18, and it just seems to take forever to get things done, especially when I was doing 3 color passes instead of the 2 that I do now. So this way, and the thing is, it's going to be good or bad. All of these studies I did, the 12 studies, look really pretty good. And actually, I did some finessing on the ones that didn't make it yesterday, and I'm starting to kind of second guess myself, but that's okay. I can leave it sit there, and I can think about it, and I can always load them into my next pass of larger paintings. Not a problem. As a matter of fact, I'm for sure going to do one of those as a vertical, and so but I won't be painting all of them, and this is my thing this next year coming up. Just because I do a study doesn't mean I'm going to do a larger painting. I have quite a lot of reference I've collected from my holidays, so I'm pretty much I have a lot of things that I can choose to paint, and so my idea is to go ahead and composite things and get things set up and do a lot of studies, but then to definitely look at them with a critical eye before doing the larger painting. And I started doing this with my last pass, and I was pretty happy about that. Actually, it was a good decision. I feel good about it. Just mostly because it's disheartening. Like, right now, this painting is almost obliterated that we created, and it's okay. I don't mind painting on top of old paintings, but I don't really love it. It's okay. I like to have a lot of successful paintings around that are awesome, and I don't have to have any negative feelings about the work if I can possibly avoid it. That said, that's pretty much unavoidable, and we all need to have strategies for dealing with that. So my number one strategy is just try to do less bad paintings, but barring that, I have other strategies, like I'll paint over the top like I'm doing here, or in some cases I'll take it outside and I'll stomp on it and break it into a million pieces, and that is just to make sure that I won't see it in someone's house later on down the road, because we don't need these clinkers laying around stinking up our legacy, right? Since these days, it seems like that's predominantly what we're working for, is our legacy. I don't think a lot of people are seeing huge sales of their work. Possibly, I think I've been watching it for a long time. If you hook into something that's captured the result of the mass mind, you could do very well, and that's awesome. I mean, doing very well financially is awesome when you're an artist. And like I said, I've been a commercial artist. I know what it means to make a lot of money with my art, and it's okay. It's fine. It's great. Money is always nice, but what is really important is lending your art to something that's in line with your consciousness and what you are as a person, and being true to that, and not in a way that's precious or anything, but in a way that's genuine and authentic. And it's good to have I've just finished reading a book by Scott Adams, who's the cartoonist for Dilbert, and it's called How to Fail at Everything and Still Succeed. I highly recommend that book. It's funny, and he's got some great tips, especially since he's actively dealing with one of the main topics that every artist has to face, and that is failure on a regular basis. And so you need to have strategies for dealing with failure, and you need to have strategies for how you're going to move forward through this reality. But one of the things he mentioned in that book is, like, if you throw something out there and it takes fire, then that's probably going to be successful. If you throw something out there and it doesn't take fire, the odds are, way further against it. But and I've been thinking about that, and I can see the truth in it. However, there is an exception to that if you're doing fine art, and that is that you are basically sort of taking a big leap over just plain commerce and into the realms of what they call fine art. Again, I'm not an expert in the art market, so take all this stuff I'm saying with a grain of salt. You might there's so many things that need to go right for you. You need to have awesome work. You need to be in an area that this work is resonating with the people that are perceiving your work, and then these people need to have enough extra cash that they can buy a painting instead of a brake job. It just goes on and on. I had a lady come into the studio yesterday who's some sort of vintage art dealer, and was complaining about how it's hard for her to find customers and stuff. But whatever. You know what? We're on the way to big time prosperity, folks. I believe that things are turning around, and we're going to reinstitute something called a middle class, and there's going to be extra money around to do things like buy art, and an extra time around to have things to learn about art and learn the value of it. And way too many people have absolutely nothing on their walls. They have just white blank walls, and I think it's a damn shame when there's so many artists around that are producing work, and we need to kind of bridge that gap. This has truly been a rambly video, but as I say in the blog, the videos feature my rambling narration, and heck, you can always turn the sound off and just watch me paint, and that's fine with me. Or you can listen to me ramble, and maybe you get some little nuggets out of it. In fact, hopefully you get that Scott Adams book. I really enjoyed it. It's funny, and it's motivating, and good for all of us. But if you'd like to see more of my work, go to landscapepainter.co.nz. Check it out. Follow my blog there. And we're going to be back next week with a whole different set of originals and all the 25 days of tonalism as well. So we'll see you next week. And meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.